The elevator doors opened on the 82nd floor of Vote Tower, and Clark Kent stepped into a nightmare dressed as a dream. He'd been in Metropolis 3 seconds ago, pursuing Lex Luthor through an experimental portal, reaching for the device before it destabilized. And then the world inverted. No kryptonite burn, no red sun weakness, just violent dimensional displacement that deposited him in the middle of a marble and glass atrium where champagne flutes caught crystalline light and 100 corporate executives applauded someone on a raised platform. Someone wore red, white and blue, cape, insignia on the chest, blonde hair, and a smile so white it could sell toothpaste. The man's speech about protecting America's values echoed off walls lined with promotional posters showing costumed figures in heroic poses. Clark's X-ray vision activated instinctively. The speaker's skeleton appeared normal, but his heart rate read unnaturally slow, 40 beats per minute at rest. Enhanced physiology. The man turned mid-sentence, blue eyes locking onto Clark with predatory precision that made Superman's jaw tighten. "Well," the man said, voice cutting through the crowd's murmur, "we have an uninvited guest." The atrium froze. $100 suits turned. Security personnel touched earpieces. Clark raised his hand slowly, reading the room with superhearing that caught 30 conversations simultaneously. Lockdown protocol? Is that a costume? Call Ashley. Homelander's smiling. That's bad. Homelander. The name hit Clark's consciousness as he processed the posters around him. 7 promotional images, Vought International logos everywhere. These people sold superheroes like products. "I'm not here to cause trouble," Clark said carefully. "There was an accident. You need to kneel." Homelander descended from the platform, boots clicking on marble. His smile never wavered, but his eyes carried something Clark recognized from Darkseid, from Mongol, from every tyrant who'd ever believed their power made them a god. Or security removes you. Your choice. Clark's X-ray vision swept the room again. Armed guards, regular humans with regular weapons, terrified executives. One woman with a blonde wig pulling at her hairline so hard skin showed red beneath. This wasn't a hero's headquarters. This was a corporate cage painted gold. "I don't kneel to bullies," Clark said quietly. The temperature dropped. Homelander's smile cracked at the edges. "What did you just..." If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. Some things can't be fixed. Homelander moved fast, genuinely fast, closing 20 feet in a heartbeat. His hand shot toward Clark's throat with strength that would have decapitated a normal human. Clark caught the wrist mid-strike, and the impact shockwave shattered every window on the 82nd floor. The atrium erupted into screaming chaos. Executives stampeded toward exits. Security shouted into radios. Alarms shrieked. And Homelander stared at his captured wrist with an expression Clark had seen on Bizarro's face. Confused rage at meeting immovable resistance. "Impossible," Homelander whispered. Then louder, eyes beginning to glow red. "Impossible." Clark released him, stepping back. "We don't have to fight. Just let me." Heat vision carved the air between them. Clark dodged left, the beam vaporizing a support column where his head had been. Homelander fired again, wild and furious, burning through walls and floor with abandon. People screamed. Someone's suit caught fire. Superman moved, not to attack, to save. He caught a falling executive before the collapsing floor could swallow her. deposited her by the emergency stairs, then swept back for 3 more trapped behind spreading flames. His freeze breath extinguished the fire in controlled bursts, while his body positioned itself between Homelander's next attack and the fleeing crowd. "Look at me!" Homelander shrieked, and Clark finally understood what he was facing. This wasn't a villain. This was something worse. A child given godlike power and told he was special until the praise became oxygen. The costume wasn't armor, it was branding. And the fury in Homelander's eyes wasn't about territory or ideology. It was about attention. "You're stealing my spotlight," Homelander said, voice dropping to something cold and venomous. "In my tower. On my stage." His heat vision charged again, both eyes burning crimson. "Everyone will remember today as the day Homelander killed an invader." Clark's jaw set. The last civilian cleared the doorway. No more innocents in the immediate blast radius. He rose 6 inches off the marble floor, cape settling behind him, and met Homelander's burning gaze with blue eyes that had stared down doomsday. "My name is Superman," he said, "and you're not going to kill anyone today." Homelander's smile returned, wide and utterly insane. "Yes, I am." The heat vision struck Clark's chest with concentrated solar energy that would have melted titanium. It tickled. Clark stood his ground as red beams washed over invulnerable skin, as Homelander poured everything into an attack that couldn't harm him, as the false hero's smile cracked into confused terror. When Homelander's vision finally sputtered out, Clark remained standing, unmarked, unburned, and profoundly sad about what came next. Because in the shattered atrium of Vought Tower, with cameras recording everything and the world's most dangerous narcissist staring at his failure, Superman realized something terrible. In his universe, you could punch the villain and save the day. Here, violence just made everything worse. Homelander attacked again, this time with fists instead of vision. The punch carried enough force to crater concrete, backed by rage-fueled adrenaline and the desperate need to reassert dominance. Clark absorbed the impact, feeling the genuine strength behind it. Comparable to mid-tier Kryptonian warriors, impressive by Earth standards, but manageable. He caught Homelander's follow-up strike, redirected the momentum, and used the opening to create distance. "Stop! We can talk about..." Homelander tackled him through the remaining wall. They burst into an adjacent conference room, shattering the floor-to-ceiling windows. The glass exploded outward in a glittering cascade 82 stories above New York City. Clark twisted mid-flight, angling their trajectory upward to avoid the street below. But Homelander broke the grapple and drove an elbow toward his temple. The blow connected. Clark's head moved perhaps an inch. Homelander's elbow fractured. The scream was immediate, high-pitched and shocked. Homelander cradled his arm, bones already knitting back together with enhanced healing. But the damage to his ego was permanent. His face contorted through confusion, pain, and finally settled on pure hatred. "What are you?" Homelander spat. "Someone trying not to hurt you," Clark said, floating 10 feet away with hands raised peacefully. The city sprawled below them, afternoon sun warm against his skin. His powers felt normal, fully charged, no strange weaknesses manifesting. Just 2 flying men suspended above Manhattan while sirens wailed and news helicopters scrambled to capture footage. Homelander's healing completed. He straightened, composed his expression into something calculating. "You're stronger than me. I don't want to fight." That wasn't a question. Homelander circled slowly, eyes scanning Clark from head to toe with X-ray precision that made Superman's skin crawl. "You're not human, not Compound V either. Your cellular structure is wrong. Foreign. Alien. His smile returned, colder now. Vaught's science division is going to have so much fun dissecting you. Clark's eyes hardened. Is that what you do here? Threaten people who won't submit? I am submission. Homelander drifted closer, hands loose at his sides, but every muscle coiled. I'm the hero. America's hero. The world's hero. And you're an unregistered superhuman who attacked Vote Tower during a corporate event. His head tilted with mock sympathy. That's domestic terrorism, by the way. Ashley's probably already drafting the press release. I saved those people from your heat vision. Funny. Homelander's laugh carried genuine amusement. That's not what the cameras show. See, from certain angles, it looks like you attacked first. Like you fired some kind of energy beam, very similar to mine. And I heroically defended innocent civilians from an alien invader. He tapped his temple. Vought owns the security footage. Vought owns the narrative. And Vought owns me. Clark's super hearing picked up the helicopters closing in. News crews. Military aircraft scrambling from nearby bases. Police cordons forming 20 blocks wide. On nearby rooftops, SWAT teams assembled with rifles that would be useless against either combatant, but would absolutely kill bystanders in crossfire. You can still stop this, Clark said quietly. Call off the response. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. Why would I do that? Homelander spread his arms wide, performing for the cameras he knew were watching. You gave me the greatest gift possible. A real threat. A real fight. His voice dropped to a whisper only super hearing could catch. Do you know how boring it is being the strongest? How pointless? Everyone fears me. Everyone loves me. Everyone dies so easily. His eyes glowed red again. But you? You might actually make me try. The heat vision came without warning, not aimed at Clark, but at a news helicopter banking too close. Clark moved faster, interposing himself between the beam and the aircraft. The energy splashed harmlessly across his back while he used freeze breath to cool the helicopter's overheating engine before it could fail. When he turned back, Homelander was laughing. You actually care, Homelander said, delighted. You actually give a shit about these insects. He gestured toward the city below. That's going to make this so much more fun. Clark realized his mistake. In his universe, protecting people discouraged villains or revealed their cruelty. Here, it just gave Homelander a weapon. Every life below became a potential hostage. Every rescue an opportunity for manipulation. What do you want? Clark asked. I want you to kneel. Homelander's voice carried across the sky, amplified for the cameras, the performance perfected through thousands of publicity events. I want America to watch their hero protect them from alien invasion. And then I want Vaught's scientists to figure out what makes you special so we can bottle it, market it, and sell it for $30 billion a dose. Clark's hands clenched. He'd faced tyrants before, monsters, gods, but they'd been honest in their evil. This was something new. Corporate villainy wrapped in patriotic branding, backed by legal teams and PR departments, empowered by a public too invested in the lie to accept truth. I'm not your product, Clark said. Everything's a product here. Homelander smiled, and it was the most honest expression Clark had seen on his face. Even me, especially me. The difference is, I learned to love it. He cracked his knuckles, bones popping back into perfect alignment. Now, let's give them a show worth streaming. He attacked again, but this time with strategy. Feinting towards civilians, forcing Clark to react defensively, using the city itself as a weapon. Superman found himself constantly repositioning to shield bystanders, to prevent collateral damage, to catch falling debris from their exchanges. And Homelander laughed the entire time, because they both knew who was really trapped. The Vault Tower boardroom, 70 floors below the aerial battle, maintained an almost surreal calm. Emergency lighting bathed the conference table in cold blue, while executives huddled around tablet screens showing multiple camera angles of Superman deflecting Homelander's attacks. Ashley Barrett's fingers worked unconsciously at her hairline, pulling hard enough to make her scalp burn. 3 hairs came loose. She didn't notice. "Replay angle 7, said a man in a $5,000 suit. Adam Bork, Chief Strategy Officer. His voice carried the detached, analytical tone of someone evaluating quarterly earnings rather than watching 2 godlike beings fight above Manhattan. Freeze frame at 1423. The image paused. Superman's hand catching Homelander's wrist, the shockwave visible as distorted air. Windows exploding outward in a perfect circle. Bork zoomed in on Superman's face, concerned, controlled, restraining his own strength. "He's holding back," Bork said, significantly. "Homelander isn't." Ashley's voice cracked. She cleared her throat, tried again. "He's going to kill someone, or destroy half the tower, or both. Acceptable losses." This from a woman Ashley didn't recognize. Corporate attorney, probably. Summoned from whatever circle of hell spawned Vaught's legal department. "We can settle wrongful death suits. We can't settle a genuine threat to Homelander's supremacy." The room's attention shifted to the attorney. She continued without emotion. "Homelander is valued at $73 billion in brand equity alone. Annual revenue from 7 merchandise, film rights, and military contracts exceeds $40 billion. If this individual proves superior in combat capability, our entire corporate structure collapses." "He hasn't hurt Homelander," someone pointed out. "Just defended. Irrelevant." The attorney pulled up a holographic display. Stock tickers, social media metrics, real-time sentiment analysis. Public perception is shifting. Search terms, new hero, stronger than Homelander. Who is Superman trending worldwide? Every second he survives our assets' attacks diminishes Homelander's perceived invincibility. Ashley watched the metrics scroll past. The boys' anonymous social media accounts were already flooding platforms with edited footage emphasizing Homelander's failed attacks. Starlight's PR team, what remained of it after her defection, pushed narratives about genuine heroism versus corporate violence. International news networks questioned Vogt's version of events. The story was slipping away. "Options," Bork said flatly. "Kill him." The attorney stated it like ordering coffee. "Publicly and decisively. Restore Homelander's dominance through overwhelming victory. Media narrative. Alien invader defeated by America's greatest hero." "And if Homelander can't kill him?" Silence. The question hung in filtered air that smelled of leather and expensive cologne. Ashley's tablet showed a new angle. Superman catching falling civilians from a collapsing floor section, depositing them safely while Homelander circled like a shark sensing blood. The comment sections exploded with words Ashley hadn't seen applied to superheroes in years. Selfless, heroic, good. Not branded, not marketed. Good. "Capture," Ashley said quietly. When nobody responded, she repeated it louder. "Capture him alive. Bring him into the 7. Bork's expression didn't change. "Explain." "He's clearly powerful, durable, marketable aesthetic, primary colors, symbol on chest, cape, classic superhero branding." Ashley's mind raced, PR instincts overriding her terror. "We offer him the same deal we gave Starlight. Fame, fortune, protection. In exchange, He signed standard 7 contracts with intellectual property assignment, behavior clauses, and mandatory corporate appearances. He won't agree, the attorney said. Then we destroy him legally. Ashley pulled up precedents. 17 previous cases where Vought's legal team had bankrupted independent heroes who refused acquisition. Liability lawsuits for property damage. Trademark infringement for costume design. Copyright claims on symbol usage. Immigration violations for undocumented alien presence. We own Congress, half the judiciary, and every major media outlet. We can make his existence illegal. The attorney smiled, the first emotion she'd shown. I like it. Carrot and stick. Either he becomes our property willingly, or we dismantle his ability to operate until he has no choice. What about Homelander? Someone asked. He's not going to stop. As if summoned by his name, the video feeds showed Homelander firing heat vision at a crowded intersection. Superman blurred between beam and target, absorbing the attack while using freeze breath to extinguish cars Homelander had ignited moments earlier. Bork's jaw tightened. The closest he came to showing emotion, Homelander's psychological profile indicates extreme narcissistic sensitivity. This individual threatens his core identity. He won't accept subordination or cooperation. Then we give him what he needs. Ashley hated herself for the words, even as she said them. Victory, public, decisive, and permanent. How? Bork asked. Subject is demonstrably superior. Ashley pulled up files. 10 years of compound V research, experimental variants, failed test subjects. We don't have to beat him. We have to make it look like Homelander beat him. She highlighted specific projects, hands shaking. Sage Grove developed neural suppressants. Black Ops created energy dampeners. If we can get him into containment, just for a few hours, we stage the final fight with Homelander defeating him on live television. He'll never agree to containment. He will if he thinks it protects people. Ashley watched Superman rescue another dozen civilians from falling debris. He's a hero, actual hero. They're predictable. The attorney nodded slowly. Admirable strategy, ethically reprehensible, but legally bulletproof. Bork stood, straightening his tie. Ashley, coordinate with crisis management. I want 3 narratives prepared: acquisition, elimination, and containment. Deploy whichever fits best when the fight concludes. He gestured toward the screens where Homelander was screaming something inaudible, while Superman maintained his defensive posture. And get me Stan Edgar's approval for lethal countermeasures. This individual is now a corporate liability. Ashley pulled 3 more hairs from her scalp. What do we tell Homelander? Nothing. Bork headed toward the door. Let him have his tantrum. When he's exhausted himself, we'll clean up the mess. That's what we always do. The boardroom emptied, leaving Ashley alone with video feeds of 2 titans clashing above the city. Her reflection in the monitor screens looked hollow, haunted. She'd just sentenced a genuinely good person to corporate destruction because he threatened quarterly earnings. Her phone buzzed. A message from Homelander. Where's my backup? Send Black Noir. Ashley typed a response with trembling fingers, already composing the press release that would paint Superman as the villain. Outside, the city burned, while cameras captured every second for tomorrow's news cycle. The battle had migrated south toward Times Square, leaving a trail of scorched concrete and shattered glass across 6 city blocks. Clark positioned himself above the tourist district, hyper-aware that 30,000 people crowded the streets below, despite police orders to evacuate. They weren't running. They were filming, phones raised like offerings to digital gods. This universe's people didn't fear superhuman violence. They'd been conditioned to watch it. "Come on!" Homelander shouted, hovering 50 yards away. His costume bore scorch marks from where he'd flown through his own heat vision trying to outmaneuver Clark. Blood leaked from his nose, the only injury Clark had managed when Homelander's reckless attack put a tour bus full of children in danger. Superman's defensive punch had been calculated, precise, meant only to disrupt momentum. Homelander wore it like a badge of shame. "Hit me back!" Homelander's voice cracked with desperation. "Stop defending and fight!" Clark's super hearing tracked everything. News helicopters orbiting at safe distance, NYPD helicopters grounded by FAA order, military jets holding a 10-mile perimeter. More concerning were the ground-level sounds, vault security teams deploying unknown equipment, Ashley Barrett's voice on 17 conference calls simultaneously, and the deep, babbling something about ocean mammals to a podcast interview while the city burned. But loudest were the civilians, thousands of them, commenting in real time. "Homelander's losing. Who is that guy? Finally, someone can stop him. Hope he kills Homelander. About fucking time." Clark's heart sank. These people hated their hero, feared him, wanted him dead. What kind of world created that dynamic? A massive screen above Times Square flickered to life. Vought News Network, broadcasting globally. The anchor, a woman with perfectly styled hair and dead eyes, spoke with manufactured urgency. "Breaking news. Vought International has confirmed the unidentified individual attacking Homelander is an unregistered extraterrestrial entity. Sources indicate the alien appeared at Vought Tower during a charity event and immediately assaulted America's greatest hero." "That's a lie," Clark said, quiet enough only Homelander could hear. Homelander grinned. "That's marketing." The screen continued. CEO Adam Bork released a statement condemning this unprovoked alien invasion. "The Seven have been mobilized to assist Homelander in neutralizing the threat. Citizens are advised to remain indoors while our heroes protect democracy." Democracy. The word felt obscene coming from a corporation that sold superheroes like smartphones. Clark's X-ray vision swept Vought Tower's upper floors. Conference rooms filled with executives monitoring stock prices. Legal teams drafting injunctions, PR departments coordinating media responses. And in a sub-basement he hadn't noticed before, laboratories filled with restraint equipment designed for superhuman containment. They weren't preparing for his surrender. They were preparing for his capture. "You're thinking too much," Homelander said, drifting closer. His casual tone carried more menace than his earlier rage. "I can see it on your face. You're trying to figure out the right thing to do. How to win without anyone getting hurt. How to be the good guy." Clark met his gaze. "Someone should be. There is no good guy here." Homelander gestured toward the crowds below. "See them. They're not victims. They're consumers. They buy our action figures, stream our movies, elect politicians we tell them to elect. They want violence. They need it. It makes them feel safe knowing someone stronger than them exists, even if that someone would snap their necks for looking at him wrong. You're describing tyranny. I'm describing America." Homelander's smile turned sad, the first genuine emotion beyond rage Clark had witnessed. "You're not from here, so you don't understand. This universe doesn't have room for real heroes. We tried. Stormfront tried in the 1940s. Actual Nazi, by the way. Not great PR. Soldier Boy tried with toxic masculinity cranked to 11. Maeve tried until the system broke her into an alcoholic. Starlight's trying right now, and we've destroyed her reputation so thoroughly that half the country thinks she's a terrorist." Clark's jaw tightened. "Someone has to try, and I'm going to kill them for it." Homelander's heat vision charged. Not because you're a threat to America, because you're a threat to me, to my brand, to the very careful lie I've spent 30 years maintaining. His eyes burned crimson. These people don't want to be saved, Superman. They want to be entertained. He fired, not at Clark, but at the massive screen displaying Vote News Network. The blast carved through electronics and steel, sending sparks cascading onto the street. Civilians screamed and stampeded. Clark moved instantly, catching falling debris, redirecting metal fragments away from the crowd, using his body as a shield for anyone too slow to escape. When the dust cleared, 47 people lay injured. Clark's super hearing tracked their heartbeats. 3 critical, 12 serious, 32 minor. All survivable if they received immediate medical attention. All Homelander's fault. All blamed on Superman by every camera angle. The news anchor's voice returned from a backup feed. Aliens' attack has injured dozens. Homelander bravely defending civilians, 7 en route. Clark landed in the intersection, surrounded by injured people and shattered glass. Sirens approached, but traffic prevented ambulances from reaching the wounded. He could hear their pain, their fear, their confusion about who to believe. Homelander descended slowly, landing 20 feet away with arms crossed. Blood still leaked from his nose, but his expression carried smug satisfaction. You want to save them? Go ahead. Give me your back. Let your guard down. Prioritize their lives over your own defense. His head tilted. I wonder how many I can kill while you're distracted. The question hung in smoke-thick air. Clark's vision blurred red with anger he rarely allowed himself to feel. He could end this. One punch, full strength. Homelander's invulnerability wouldn't matter against Kryptonian might backed by righteous fury. But then what? He'd be a killer. An alien who executed a human hero on live television. Vought would have their villain. The world would have their monster. And Homelander knew it. Checkmate, Homelander whispered. Clark's fists unclenched. He turned toward the nearest injured civilian, a young woman with a steel fragment embedded in her shoulder. His heat vision, controlled to surgical precision, cauterized the wound while his freeze breath prevented shock. He moved to the next victim, then the next, aware of Homelander watching with predatory patience. That's right, Homelander said softly. Save them. Be the hero, while I own you. Above Times Square, every screen displayed the same message. Surrender or more will die. And Clark Kent realized he'd lost before the fight even started. The EMTs arrived in force. 12 ambulances, 6 fire trucks, and a Vought-branded medical response unit that looked more like a military convoy than emergency services. Clark stepped back as paramedics swarmed the injured. But his super hearing tracked every conversation, every diagnosis, every whispered assessment that confirmed what he already knew. Everyone would survive. Small comfort when Homelander was already planning the next casualty event. A woman in a crisp Vought security uniform approached. Flanked by 4 guards carrying weapons, Clark's X-ray vision identified as some kind of energy projectors. Not lethal, incapacitating. Designed for superhuman targets. Sir, the woman said, voice professionally neutral. I'm Commander Pierce, Vought Security Division. We need you to come with us for debriefing. I'm not going anywhere with Vought, Clark said. That wasn't a request. Pierce gestured, and the guards raised their weapons. Homelander drifted closer, smile widening. You've caused approximately $47 million in property damage, injured 47 civilians, violated FAA restricted airspace during a national security incident, and assaulted Homelander, who is a registered federal asset under the Superhuman Registration Act. Clark's eyes narrowed. He attacked first. Our footage says otherwise. Pierce pulled out a tablet, showed him edited video where Superman appeared to fire heat vision first, where Homelander's defensive actions looked heroic, where every civilian injury came from the alien invaders' reckless violence. This footage has been submitted to the FBI, Homeland Security, and the International Criminal Court. You're facing federal terrorism charges. The words hit harder than any of Homelander's punches. Clark had been called many things: alien, Boy Scout, Big Blue Boy Scout, never terrorist. This is insane, Clark said. I was trying to help. Help? Pierce's professional mask cracked slightly, showing something bitter underneath. You put 47 people in the hospital, destroyed 3 city blocks, caused a mass panic that's gridlocked Manhattan. And you did all of it while Homelander was attempting peaceful resolution. She paused. That's what the official record states. That's what every witness will testify. That's what every lawyer in America will argue when the lawsuits start. Clark's super hearing picked up approaching sirens. More vote security. Military helicopters repositioning. And underneath it all, Ashley Barrett's voice on another conference call. Liability estimates at $2 billion and climbing. Need him in custody before civilian families start filing. $2 billion for trying to prevent Homelander from killing people. What do you want? Clark asked quietly. Cooperation. Pierce lowered her tablet. Come to Vote Tower voluntarily. Submit to medical examination. Sign a liability waiver accepting responsibility for today's damages. And make a public statement supporting Homelander's version of events. Lie, you mean? Survive. Pierce's tone softened fractionally. Look, I don't know where you're from or why you're here, but this is how things work. Vought controls the narrative. Homelander controls the violence. And everyone else picks a side or gets crushed between them. She glanced at the injured civilians being loaded into ambulances. Those people, they'll get million-dollar settlements, medical care for life, college funds for their kids, all courtesy of Vote International, contingent on signing NDAs and supporting our version of events. You're buying their silence. We're taking care of them, more than the government would, more than you could. Pierce's expression hardened again. Make your choice. Come quietly, or Homelander resumes his demonstration of superior force. Next time with more casualties. Homelander flexed his fingers, heat vision flickering like a promise. Clark looked at the civilians, some filming, some crying, all trapped in a city that treated superhuman violence like weather. Inevitable. Unavoidable. Just something you endured and hoped missed your block. He thought about Kansas, about Jonathan Kent teaching him that power meant responsibility, about Martha Kent warning him some battles couldn't be won with strength alone, about Metropolis, where the law protected people and institutions served justice. This wasn't that world. I'll come, Clark said, but I'm not signing anything, and I'm not lying about what happened. Pierce's jaw tightened. Then you're making this very difficult for yourself. Good. Clark met Homelander's gaze. Because I'm not the one who should be uncomfortable about today. Homelander's smile vanished. You think you're better than me. I think you're a bully with powers you didn't earn, worshipped by a system designed to let you hurt people without consequences. Clark rose 6 inches off the ground. And I think deep down, you know it too. The punch came faster than before. Homelander's full strength, backed by wounded pride and genuine rage. Clark caught it, absorbed the impact, and for the first time, pushed back. Not hard enough to injure, just hard enough to move Homelander backward 3 feet. The psychological impact was devastating. Homelander stared at the space he'd lost, at his fist still caught in Clark's grip, at the complete absence of strain on Superman's face. His expression cycled through shock, humiliation, and pure hatred in under 2 seconds. "You're dead," Homelander whispered. "Not today. Not here. But I'm going to find everyone you care about, everyone you've ever looked at, everyone you've ever saved, and I'm going to make you watch while I laser them into pieces small enough to fit in a fucking coffee can." Clark's grip tightened slightly. "Try it, and I'll put you down like the rabid dog you are." For 5 eternal seconds, they locked eyes. Homelander, realizing for the first time in his life that someone could actually kill him. Superman, realizing he'd just threatened to become exactly what this world expected. Pierce's voice cut through the tension. "Both of you, stand down, now, or I'm authorizing lethal countermeasures." Clark released Homelander's fist, stepped back, lowered to the ground with hands raised in surrender. Because fighting wasn't winning here. It was just giving Vought more ammunition. Homelander straightened his costume, wiped blood from his nose, and composed his face into a mask of heroic concern. When he spoke, his voice carried across the square with practiced publicity. "The threat has been neutralized. American citizens are safe. Homelander has protected you as always." The crowd, those who remained, applauded. Actually applauded. Clark's super hearing picked up their relief, their worship, their desperate need to believe the lie because the truth was too terrifying. Pierce approached with specialized restraints. Compound V resistant alloys, according to the specifications his X-ray vision revealed. They wouldn't hold him. Nothing here could hold him. But he let them lock around his wrists anyway. Because Jonathan Kent had taught him another lesson. One that mattered more than strength. Sometimes the most heroic thing you could do was surrender to an unjust system so you could dismantle it from within. Or die trying. As Vought security led him toward their transport vehicle, Clark's super hearing caught one final exchange from the crowd. "Did you see Homelander's face? Actually looked scared. Maybe this Superman guy really is." "Shut up, man, they're recording." Hope, strangled by fear. Truth, murdered by surveillance. Welcome to the boys' universe. The holding cell in Vought Tower's sub-basement was designed to contain gods. Reinforced steel walls 12 feet thick. Energy-dampening fields that would suppress Compound V-enhanced abilities. Surveillance cameras covering every angle. And absolutely no windows, no natural light. Nothing to remind the prisoner that a world existed beyond corporate ownership. The restraints fell off Clark's wrists the moment Pierce left him alone. She'd known they would. Her expression had said as much. This wasn't imprisonment. It was negotiation. They wanted him to know he could leave any time, that staying was his choice, that cooperation benefited everyone. Clark sat on the metal bench and listened to the building above him. 82 floors of corporate evil. Operating with business-as-usual efficiency despite the battle that had just shattered their lobby. Conference calls about stock prices, legal teams drafting settlement offers, PR departments spinning narratives. And throughout it all, Ashley Barrett's voice, increasingly frantic as she coordinated damage control across 17 departments simultaneously. But most disturbing was Homelander. The psychopath had returned to his penthouse suite on the 99th floor and was currently destroying it. Clark's super hearing tracked every impact as Homelander punched walls, shattered mirrors, and screamed obscenities that would have made Darkseid wince. Furniture exploded, glass rained, and underneath the violence, quieter sounds. Ragged breathing, choked sobs, The breakdown of a man-child who just discovered he wasn't the strongest. "He's going to kill you," said a voice from the cell's intercom. Not Pierce, someone older, more refined. Not today. Not while cameras are watching. But eventually, when he's processed this humiliation, Homelander will hunt you with every resource Vought can provide. And he won't stop until you're dead, or he is. Clark stood, addressing the camera in the corner. "Who are you?" "Stan Edgar, CEO of Vought International. The person who actually runs this company while Homelander plays superhero." A pause. "I've been watching you since you appeared, reviewing footage, analyzing your capabilities, running projections, and I've concluded something interesting. You're more valuable alive than dead. I'm not for sale. Everything's for sale. The question is price." The intercom crackled slightly. "You demonstrated remarkable restraint today. Homelander attacked you 17 times. You injured him once, defensively, to prevent civilian casualties. You prioritized rescue over retaliation. You surrendered to avoid further violence." Edgar's tone carried genuine respect. "That's not how superheroes behave here. That's how actual heroes behave. And actual heroes are very, very rare." Clark's X-ray vision tracked Edgar's location. Corner office, 85th floor, sitting calmly at a desk while his company burned. "What do you want?" "To make you an offer, one that benefits both of us." Papers rustled. Vought International is valued at $400 billion. We control superhero licensing in 17 countries. We provide private security forces to 43 nations. We hold patents on compound V variants that could revolutionize human enhancement. Another pause. "But we have a Homelander problem. You created him. We created a product. Unfortunately, that product gained sentience and now believes he's actually special rather than just genetically fortunate." Edgar's clinical detachment was somehow more disturbing than Homelander's violence. "He's become unstable, unpredictable, a liability we can't terminate without triggering market collapse. But you could be his leash." Clark's jaw tightened. "I'm not helping you control him. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to exist." Keys clicked, typing, probably pulling up projections. Homelander's power comes from perceived invincibility. Today, you shattered that perception. News footage shows him failing, bleeding, afraid. The world has seen him weakened, and they'll never see him the same way. More typing. "We can't put that genie back in the bottle, but we can manage it. We can position you as his equal, his partner, his check and balance, the good cop to his Homelander. While you profit, while everyone profits. You get legitimacy, legal protection, and resources to actually help people. We get brand diversification and a hedge against Homelander's inevitable psychotic break. Society gets a genuine hero for the first time in decades." Edgar's chair creaked. "It's pragmatic. Everyone wins. Except the truth. Truth is overrated. Survival matters more." The intercom went silent for 10 seconds. When Edgar returned, his tone had shifted slightly. Less businessman, more strategist. "You're not from this universe. I can tell by how you flinch at things that seem normal here. But you're stuck here now, and you have a choice. Work within our system or be destroyed by it. There is no third option." Clark closed his eyes, extending his hearing throughout the building. Past executives counting money, past lawyers weaponizing precedents, past Ashley pulling more hair from her scalp, past the deep practicing speaking points for his podcast, past A-Train's drug-accelerated heartbeat, past all the little evils that made this place run. Until he found what he was listening for. Starlight, arguing with someone named Huey in a safe house 17 blocks away. He actually stood up to Homelander. Yeah, and now Vought's going to destroy him like they destroy everyone. We could help him. Butcher won't. Fuck Butcher, this is different. Hope. Small and fragile, but genuine. Clark opened his eyes. What happens if I refuse? We release the doctored footage. You're charged with terrorism, international manhunt, shoot on sight orders. Edgar spoke like he was reading a grocery list. We freeze any assets you attempt to acquire. We sue you for trademark infringement on your costume design. We classify you as an illegal alien, literally, and lobby for your extradition to countries with more flexible, superhuman containment policies. A pause. And we tell Homelander where you sleep. I don't sleep. Everyone sleeps eventually. Keys clicked again. The offer expires in 6 hours. After that, you become a case study in corporate warfare. Sign with us, or we'll make you wish you had. The intercom cut out. Clark stood alone in the cell that couldn't hold him, listening to a city that didn't want saving. In a universe where corporate profit mattered more than human life. 99 floors above, Homelander stopped destroying his penthouse. The sudden silence was worse than the violence. Clark's super hearing tracked him moving to the floor-to-ceiling windows, staring out at New York with an expression hidden but easily imagined. Then Homelander spoke, quiet enough that only Clark's hearing could catch it. I know you can hear me. Clark didn't respond, didn't move. I've been the strongest my entire life, Homelander continued, voice hollow. They raised me in a lab, tested me, hurt me, told me I was special, that I was better, that I was a god. His palm pressed against glass. And I believed them. Because what else was there? If I wasn't special, then all the pain was for nothing. All the isolation, all the... He trailed off. Clark heard him swallow hard. You made me feel weak today, Homelander whispered. In front of everyone. In front of cameras. In front of people who are supposed to fear me. His voice cracked. Do you know what happens to gods when people stop fearing them? Silence stretched for 30 seconds. Then Homelander's tone shifted. Cold, flat, dead inside. They stop being gods. They become targets. The penthouse door opened. Footsteps. Ashley's voice, nervous and placating. Homelander, we need to discuss the press conference. The sound that followed made Clark's stomach turn. Not violence. Worse. Homelander's voice, perfectly modulated and professional. Of course, Ashley. Let's give America the hero they deserve. The mask was back. The performance resumed. The psychopath had processed his trauma by burying it beneath 30 years of practiced fakery. And Clark realized Edgar was right about one thing. Homelander was going to kill him. The only question was, how many people would die first? The explosion came at 3:47 a.m. Clark had been listening to the city, tracking crimes, hearing domestic disputes, monitoring 3 separate superhuman incidents across Manhattan that nobody was responding to because the 7 were off duty and the boys were underground. He'd been debating Edgar's offer, weighing impossible choices, when his super hearing caught the distinctive sound of C4 detonators arming in Vote Tower's foundation. He moved before conscious thought, shattering the cell's reinforced door and blurring through corridors toward the source. His X-ray vision penetrated steel and concrete, showing him the truth. 47 explosive charges placed at critical support structures throughout the building's base. Enough to bring down all 99 floors, enough to kill everyone inside. Clark reached the first charge with 2 seconds to spare. His heat vision vaporized the detonator. He moved to the next, then the next, faster than human perception could track, working down the list of explosives while simultaneously checking every floor above for casualties. The tower wasn't empty. Night shift employees, security personnel, cleaning crews, 237 people who had nothing to do with Homelander or corporate evil or any of it. Just working people trying to survive in the economy that paid better when you ignored the blood on company letterhead. He disabled Charge 32 when he heard Homelander's voice echo through the building's PA system. "Attention, Vought Tower. This is not a drill. Structural integrity has been compromised by the alien invaders' sabotage. Evacuate immediately. Homelander will ensure your safety." Clark froze for half a second. The charges weren't armed when he'd entered the building. They'd been placed within the last 20 minutes. And Homelander's announcement came before any alarm could sound, before anyone could independently verify the threat. This was a setup. Clark disabled the remaining charges anyway, because saving lives mattered more than proving innocence. Then shot toward the upper floors where panic was already spreading. Employees flooded stairwells, fire alarms wailed, and throughout it all, Homelander's voice maintained heroic calm. "Stay calm. Your hero is here. Trust Homelander." The exits bottlenecked. Too many people, too few stairs, panic overriding training. Clark could hear bones breaking as people fell, were trampled, crushed in stampedes driven by manufactured terror. He arrived at stairwell C on the 42nd floor where 17 people had collapsed in a human pileup. No time for subtlety. He lifted the entire mass of bodies carefully, ignoring their screams, and deposited them safely on the floor before the pressure could suffocate anyone. Then the next group, then the next. "There," someone shouted. "The alien. He's here to finish us." Clark turned to find a security camera watching him. Homelander's voice came through nearby speakers, perfectly timed. "I see him. Don't worry. I'm coming." The setup crystallized in Clark's mind. Homelander had planted the charges, triggered the evacuation, waited for Superman to reveal himself saving people. Now he'd heroically arrive to stop the saboteur in front of hundreds of witnesses and dozens of cameras. Perfect PR. Perfect justification for lethal force. And if Clark didn't keep saving people, they'd die in the stampede. He made his choice the same way he always did, by prioritizing lives over optics. He moved through the building like a ghost, catching falling workers, clearing blocked exits, using freeze breath to extinguish fires that had started from damaged electrical systems. Every action was recorded. Every rescue was witnessed. Every moment gave Homelander more ammunition. They met on the 82nd floor, the same shattered atrium where this had started 12 hours earlier. Homelander descended through the broken skylight with theatrical precision, cape billowing, landing with superhero grace as news helicopters circled outside. "Caught you," Homelander said, loud enough for the helicopter's microphones to catch. "Attempting to murder innocent civilians. Again." Clark stood among rescued employees, surrounded by evidence of his heroism that would be edited into evidence of his villainy. "You planted those charges. Prove it." Homelander's smile was perfect. All anyone will see is an alien saboteur and Homelander saving the day. Again. He took 3 steps forward, hands loose at his sides. "You really thought you could win? In my city? In my tower? This isn't about winning. Everything's about winning." Homelander's eyes began to glow. "I've already won. You're just too stupid to realize you're dead." The heat vision came without warning, both eyes, full power, aimed not at Clark, but at the support column behind him. The steel vaporized. The floor above groaned, and 37 people in the executive suite overhead suddenly had seconds to live. Clark moved automatically, catching the collapsing ceiling section before it could crush anyone below. The weight meant nothing. Several tons of concrete and steel held easily overhead, but it locked him in place, immobile, vulnerable. Homelander's smile widened. See? Predictable. The second heat vision blast hit Clark directly in the eyes. For the first time since arriving in this universe, he felt something approximating pain, not from the energy itself, but from the sheer sustained intensity of Homelander pouring everything he had into the attack. Clark's vision turned red, not from heat vision, but from rage. He could end this. One burst of his own heat vision while Homelander was committed to the attack. Through the skull. Lobotomy at minimum, death at maximum. The psychopath would never hurt anyone again. And Clark would become exactly what Edgar predicted, a weapon, a killer, just another superhuman who decided violence solved problems. So instead, he held the ceiling, protected the people above, and took everything Homelander could give until the psychopath's heat vision finally sputtered out from exhaustion. When Clark's vision cleared, Homelander was doubled over, breathing hard, blood leaking from both eyes. The sustained attack had injured him more than any of Superman's punches. "Why won't you die?" Homelander gasped. Clark carefully lowered the ceiling section, ensured everyone above was stable, then turned to face the monster wearing a hero's costume. Because someone has to show these people what actual heroism looks like. "They don't want heroes," Homelander screamed. "They want gods. They want power. They want someone to worship and fear and blame and love, and I gave them everything, and you. He attacked again, pure rage overriding strategy. Punches that would have killed elephants. Speed that blurred motion. Strength born from 30 years of being told he was special. Clark stopped defending. He caught Homelander's fist mid-strike, twisted, and threw the psychopath through 3 interior walls. Then he followed, moving faster than Homelander could track, and delivered a punch calculated to hurt without killing. Homelander crashed through the exterior wall and out into open air. Superman followed him into the night sky above Manhattan. No more witnesses, no more cameras, no more playing defense. Just 2 beings of immense power, and only one of them was holding back. Homelander recovered midair, spitting blood. "There you are. There's the violence I knew was coming. You're just like me. I'm nothing like you." Clark's eyes glowed red, controlled, precise, terrifying. "You hurt people because you enjoy it. Because it makes you feel powerful. Because you're a broken child who never learned that strength means protecting the weak, not dominating them. And you're so much better." Homelander laughed, wild and unhinged. "You've been here one day, and you've already compromised. You've already hurt me. You've already crossed lines you swore you wouldn't. Give it a week, a month, and you'll be just another Vought product, signing contracts and cashing checks and telling yourself it's for the greater good." Clark's fist clenched, because part of him feared Homelander was right. "I'll make this simple," Homelander said, wiping blood from his mouth. "You leave, tonight. This universe, this city, whatever dimensional hole you crawled from, go back. Or I start killing people. Not quickly, slowly, on camera. Starting with children, because their screams sound the sweetest. And I'll make sure everyone knows it's your fault for not surrendering." The threat hung between them like physics. Undeniable, immutable, terrifying in its simplicity. "You won't," Clark said, hoping he was right. "I already have." Homelander pulled out a phone, showed Clark a video, a suburban house in Queens, family of 4 asleep inside. Vault security team positioned outside with weapons. One word from me, and they burn. Then the next family, then the next. I can kill 100 people before you find the first body. Clark's X-ray vision confirmed the house, the family, the threat. His super hearing tracked their heartbeats. 2 adults, 2 children, dreaming peacefully, while corporate evil prepared to murder them. "You're bluffing," Clark said. "Am I?" Homelander's finger hovered over the phone. "Test me. See what happens when you push a god who's got nothing left to lose." For the second time in 12 hours, Clark Kent realized the fight was already over. He'd won the battle, survived the attacks, saved hundreds of lives, and lost completely. Because this universe didn't reward heroism, it punished it. It took people who wanted to help and crushed them between corporate machinery and psychotic celebrities until nothing remained but broken ideals and compromised souls. "What do you want?" Clark asked quietly. "Kneel," Homelander said. "Right here, right now, where cameras can't see. Kneel to me, and I'll let those children live." Clark looked at the city below. Millions of people, trapped in a system designed to extract value from their suffering. He thought about Jonathan Kent, about lessons learned in Kansas wheat fields, about the fundamental truth that some compromises destroyed you more surely than any villain. Then he thought about 2 children sleeping peacefully, unaware that their lives hung on his pride. Clark Kent, the last son of Krypton, the Man of Steel, Superman, knelt in the sky above Manhattan. Homelander's smile could have lit the city. "Good. Now we understand each other." He turned, preparing to fly back to the tower. "Welcome to the boys' universe, Superman. Some things can't be fixed." He left Clark kneeling in darkness, surrounded by lights that promised hope and delivered only managed suffering. Below, Vought Tower still stood. The charges hadn't detonated. The people had evacuated safely. Clark had saved everyone and lost everything that mattered. Clark didn't return to Vought Tower. He descended to street level in Hell's Kitchen, landing in an alley that smelled of piss and rotting garbage. Honest smells, at least, compared to the perfumed corruption 80 floors above Manhattan. His cape dragged through filth. He didn't care. The city breathed around him. Not the tourist-friendly Manhattan of Times Square, but the real New York. People working 3 jobs, single mothers choosing between rent and medicine, addicts scratching at skin that itched from withdrawal. Clark's superhearing tracked 1,000 small tragedies playing out in tenement buildings, and for the first time since arriving, he wondered if saving them even mattered. Homelander was right. The system would just create more suffering tomorrow. "You look like shit," said a voice with a British accent thick as London fog. Clark turned. A man in his late 40s leaned against the alley entrance, dark coat billowing slightly in the night breeze. Scarred face, hard eyes, the kind of person who'd seen enough violence to recognize it in others. "Billy Butcher?" The man introduced himself, pulling a flask from his coat. "And you're the alien cunt who made Homelander bleed. Quite the fucking accomplishment." He took a swig, offered it to Clark. "You look like you need this more than I do." "I don't drink." "Of course you don't. You're a proper hero, yeah? Truth, justice, all that bollocks." Butcher's smile didn't reach his eyes. "How's that working out for you?" Clark's jaw tightened. "What do you want?" "To offer you something Vought won't. The truth." Butcher pocketed his flask, gestured toward a nondescript van parked at the alley's end. "My team's been watching you all day. Saw you fight Homelander. Saw you refuse to kill him when you had the chance. Saw you kneel in the fucking sky like a good little soldier." He spat. And I thought, here's someone who might actually give a shit about stopping these cunts. "I'm not killing anyone. Didn't ask you to. Not yet, anyway." Butcher pulled out a cigarette, lit it with practiced ease. "But let me paint you a picture. Homelanders raped women, killed hundreds of civilians, lasered a plane full of passengers, and let them drown rather than risk his reputation. He's got a son, Ryan, 8 years old, who he's training to be just as psychotic. And Vought covers it all up. Every murder, every rape. Every crime against humanity gets buried under NDAs and settlements and corporate spin." Clark had heard some of this through super hearing during his time in the cell. But hearing it stated plainly, without corporate euphemism, hit differently. "Why are you telling me this?" Clark asked. "Because you're new here. Still got that fresh-faced idealism that makes you think the system can be fixed from inside." Butcher took a long drag. "It can't. Vought owns Congress, owns the courts, owns the media. They've been selling Compound Vi to terrorists to create supervillains, just so they can sell soups as military assets. The entire fucking operation is designed to manufacture crises they can profit from. Then expose them. We did." Butcher laughed bitterly. "We leaked the Compound V story. You know what happened? Vought spun it as revolutionary medical treatment. Their stock went up 20%. The CEO got a bonus, and the whistleblower, woman named Mallory's granddaughter, she died in a gas leak 3 weeks later." Clark's fists clenched. There has to be a way. "There is." Butcher flicked his cigarette into a puddle. "You. Someone strong enough to actually fight Homelander. Someone who's not scared of him, not controlled by Vought, and, judging by the look on your face, someone who's already realized this universe is fundamentally fucked. I'm not joining a death squad. We're not a death squad. We're a barely funded group of traumatized civilians trying to stop corporate-made superhumans from killing more people." Butcher's expression hardened. "My wife was raped by Homelander. Huey's girlfriend was killed by A-Train, who ran through her at supersonic speed while high on Compound V. MM's family was destroyed by Soldier Boy during a botched mission. Frenchie and Kimiko were both victims of Vought's experiments. We're not the bad guys here, mate. We're just the only ones willing to do what needs doing." Clark studied Butcher with X-ray vision, seeing the truth beneath bravado. Scarred tissue from multiple injuries, liver damage from drinking, and something else. Something wrong with his brain. Lesions, tumors. The man was dying. "You're sick," Clark said quietly. Butcher's mask slipped for half a second. "Temp V gives you powers for 24 hours, also gives you brain cancer if you use it more than 3 times. I'm on dose, well, let's say more than 3. He straightened his coat. "But I'll be damned if I die before Homelander does. That cunt's gonna pay for Becca." The van's side door slid open. A young man poked his head out. Mid-20s, nervous energy, definitely not military. "Butcher, MM says we need to move. Vought security's sweeping the area." "Right." Butcher turned back to Clark. "Come with us. Meet the team. Hear our proposal. Then you can fuck off back to Vote Tower and sign whatever contract Edgar's offering, knowing exactly what you're supporting." Clark should have refused, should have walked away from these clearly traumatized people who were going to get themselves killed. Should have found another way. A legal way, a peaceful way, a way that didn't involve compromising every principle Jonathan Kent had taught him. But he thought about Homelander's smile, about kneeling in the sky, about children sleeping peacefully because he'd surrendered his dignity to a psychopath. "One conversation," Clark said. "That's all I'm promising." That's all I'm asking. Butcher gestured toward the van. Welcome to the boys, Superman, where the heroes are traumatized civilians and the villains wear capes. The safe house was a converted warehouse in Brooklyn, accessible through 3 separate entrances and wired with enough surveillance equipment to make the CIA jealous. Clark counted 17 cameras, 43 motion sensors, and multiple weapons caches hidden behind false walls. These people weren't amateurs. They were survivors. Everyone, meet Superman, Butcher announced as they entered. Superman, meet everyone who's still alive. 4 people looked up from various positions around a central table covered in surveillance photos, legal documents, and what appeared to be a conspiracy board connecting Vought executives to various crimes. Huey Campbell, the young man from the van, introduced himself nervously. I'm a big fan. Not of Homelander, obviously. Of you. Of what you did today. Standing up to him. That was, yeah. Mother's milk, said a muscular black man with kind eyes and an obsessively organized workspace. MM for short. Ignore Butcher's dramatic bullshit. We're not asking you to kill anyone. We're asking you to help us expose Vaught's crimes in a way they can't spin or suppress. A wiry man with wild hair waved from a workbench covered in explosive components. Frenchie, I make the things that go boom. Also, I am excellent company. He gestured toward a young Asian woman sitting cross-legged on a crate, watching Clark with predatory stillness. This is Kimiko. She does not talk, but she's very good at violence. Kimiko signed something. Frenchie translated, "She says you smell like ozone and soap. Also, she could kill you if necessary, but probably not before you killed her." Jesus Christ, Frenchie, MM muttered. What? She is being honest. Frenchie shrugged. I appreciate this. Clark's X-ray vision swept the room automatically, cataloging injuries. Huey had broken ribs, recently healed but still tender. MM's heart showed signs of chronic stress. Frenchie's hands bore chemical burns. And Kimiko's entire skeletal structure showed evidence of multiple compound fractures, all healed with supernatural efficiency. You're enhanced, Clark said to her. Kimiko nodded, signed again. Frenchie translated, Shining Light Liberation Army gave her compound 5 as child soldier. She did not choose this. Now she uses it to help people. And kill Suppies, Butcher added. She's killed 3. Could have been more, but we try to be selective. Clark's expression hardened. I'm not helping you murder people. What if those people are murderers themselves? MM pulled up a tablet, showed Clark surveillance footage. This is gunpowder, mid-tier soup, uses enhanced reflexes and weapon proficiency. Last year, he killed 17 civilians during a bank robbery gone wrong. Vought settled with the families. Gunpowder did 6 weeks of community service at a publicity event, and he's back on the streets. Another video. Mesmer, low-level soup, reads thoughts through touch. Used his powers to help Vought blackmail whistleblowers. Also used them to sexually assault women by reading their fantasies without consent. Vought gave him a raise. Another. Termite, shrinking powers, accidentally killed his boyfriend during sex by shrinking inside him and expanding too quickly. Vaught's legal team got him off on superhuman accident defense. He's suing the boyfriend's family for defamation. The videos kept coming. Atrocities covered up. Crimes rebranded as accidents. Victims silenced with money or threats, or mysterious deaths labeled suicide. These are just the ones we know about, MM said quietly. Vought has 43 active Suppies on their roster. We've documented serious crimes by 37 of them. And that's with limited resources and constant interference. Clark closed his eyes, super hearing extending throughout the warehouse. Their heartbeats were steady. No deception. These people believed every word they were saying. "What do you want from me?" Clark asked. "Testimony," Huey said. "You fought Homelander. You saw him attack first. You witnessed him endanger civilians deliberately. If you go on record, actual legal testimony, not a vote press conference, we might be able to get a grand jury to investigate." "They'll bury it," Clark said. "Edgar already showed me their playbook. They'll destroy my credibility, bankrupt me with lawsuits, classify me as an illegal alien." "Probably," admitted. "But they'll have to do it publicly, which means people will ask questions, which means other victims might come forward. Which means we crack the wall of silence, even just a little. And when that doesn't work?" Clark met Butcher's eyes. "What's your backup plan?" Butcher smiled grimly. "Then we use the only language Homelander understands, overwhelming violence. We get you some temp fee, boost your powers even higher, and we put that cunt in the ground before he kills anyone else." "I told you, I heard you. You don't kill. Noble, admirable, fucking useless." Butcher leaned across the table. "Let me ask you something, Superman. How many people has Homelander killed since you arrived? Go on, use that super hearing of yours. Count them." Clark didn't want to, but his hearing extended automatically, tracking recent deaths across Manhattan. 3 domestic violence calls where Vault security had removed evidence. 1 suicide of a Vault accountant who'd been scheduled to testify before Congress. 2 homeless people dead in an alley with laser burn entry wounds. 7 people killed while Clark was debating ethics in a holding cell. "That's on you," Butcher said softly. "Every hour you waste trying to play by rules Homelander ignores, he kills more innocents. Every day you spend negotiating with Vought, more families get destroyed. At some point, your principles become complicity." The words hit like kryptonite, because Clark had heard similar arguments before. From Lex Luthor, from Amanda Waller, from every person who tried to convince him that killing one villain would save hundreds of innocents. He'd never accepted it, never crossed that line. But this universe wasn't his. These weren't his rules. And Homelander wasn't a villain who could be imprisoned or reformed or reasoned with. "I need time," Clark said finally. "You don't have time." Butcher pulled out his phone, showed Clark a news alert. Vought CEO Edgar announces partnership with Superman. The press release was already live, complete with doctored photos of Clark shaking Edgar's hand. "They've made the decision for you. As of 20 minutes ago, you're officially a Vought asset. Congratulations." Clark stared at the fabricated image, feeling the trap close around him. Edgar had played this perfectly. Give Superman 6 hours to decide, then announce the decision anyway. Now, if Clark denied it, Vaught's lawyers would sue for breach of contract on an agreement he never signed. If he confirmed it, he legitimized their lies. "There's one more thing," said reluctantly. He pulled up another video, this one grainy security footage from a parking garage. This was recorded 3 hours ago, after your fight. The video showed Homelander landing in an empty garage level, looking around to ensure he was alone. Then his expression crumbled. He fell to his knees, hands covering his face, and sobbed. Not performance crying. Genuine, broken, childlike anguish. "I'm not strong enough," Homelander whispered to himself. I'm supposed to be. Why isn't it enough?" He stayed there for 11 minutes, crying alone in corporate shadows, before composing himself and flying away. Clark felt something unexpected. Pity. He's a victim too, Huey said quietly. Raised in a lab. Tortured, isolated. Told he was special until he needed worship like oxygen. He's a monster. But Vought made him that way. Doesn't mean he gets a pass, Butcher snapped. Hitler had a sad childhood too. Didn't make the Holocaust any less evil. I'm not saying give him a pass. I'm saying... Huey struggled for words. I'm saying this whole system is designed to create monsters. Homelander, Stormfront, all of them. And killing one monster doesn't fix the system. But it saves the people that monster would have killed tomorrow, Butcher countered. They argued while Clark listened, tracking their heartbeats, analyzing their words, searching for the right answer in a universe that seemed designed to have none. Finally, he spoke. I'll testify. I'll go on record about what I witnessed. I'll do everything legally possible to expose Vought's crimes. He met Butcher's eyes. But I won't kill Homelander. Even if it means more people die. Because the moment I cross that line, I become what he is. Someone who decides which lives matter and which don't. Butcher's expression darkened. Then you're worse than useless. You're a liability. Maybe. But I'm the liability who can actually hurt him. Clark stood. Give me 3 days. Let me try the legal route. If it fails, when it fails, we'll revisit options. And if Homelander kills someone in those 3 days? asked. Then I'll stop him, non-lethally. Clark moved toward the exit. But I need you to do something for me. What? Huey asked. Find out why I'm here. Dimensional breaches don't just happen. Someone or something brought me to this universe at this specific moment, directly into Vought Tower during a PR event. Clark looked back at them. That's not coincidence. That's orchestrated, and I need to know by who. Frenchie's eyes lit up. Ah, a mystery. I love mysteries. Also, I have equipment that can scan for dimensional anomalies. Well, maybe I will build it. 3 days, Butcher repeated flatly. Then we do things my way. Clark nodded and left, stepping into Brooklyn night that felt heavier than it should. Behind him, the boys began planning for the legal battle they knew they'd lose. Because in this universe, the good guys always lost. It's just that nobody had told Superman yet. The press conference was scheduled for 9 a.m. at Federal Court, Southern District of New York. Clark arrived at 8:47 a.m., wearing civilian clothes borrowed from Huey that fit poorly, but served the purpose. Looking human, vulnerable, relatable. The steps outside the courthouse were already packed with reporters, cameras, and protesters holding signs that split evenly between alien invader and real hero. Police barriers barely contained the crowd. News helicopters circled. And across the street, on top of a building had secured for Overwatch. The boys monitored with surveillance equipment and sniper rifles loaded with specialized rounds that probably wouldn't kill Homelander, but might slow him down. Probably. Huey stood beside Clark, wearing a cheap suit and carrying a briefcase full of documentation. He looked terrified. This is insane. You know that, right? We're about to accuse the most powerful corporation in America of systematic criminal conspiracy. They're going to destroy us. Probably, Clark agreed. And you're still doing this? Someone has to. Clark scanned the crowd with X-ray vision, counting weapons. 43 firearms, 17 tasers, 6 compound V injectors. And standing at the back, partially obscured but unmistakable, Homelander, wearing civilian clothes and a baseball cap that fooled exactly nobody. Their eyes met across 200 feet of concrete and chaos. Homelander smiled, touched 2 fingers to his temple in mock salute. then pointed toward a section of crowd where a woman held a young child. The message was clear: testify and innocents die. Clark looked away first, not from fear, from calculation. Homelander wanted a reaction, wanted Superman to attack or flee, wanted anything except what was about to happen. Public testimony under oath, recorded and broadcasted, creating a permanent legal record that couldn't be edited or disappeared. "Let's go," Clark said. They climbed the courthouse steps, past protesters shouting contradictory demands, past reporters hurling questions that blurred together, past everything except the simple act of walking through doors and into a system that was supposed to deliver justice. The courtroom was smaller than Clark expected. Judge Maria Torres presided, a woman in her 60s with steel-gray hair and an expression that suggested she'd seen every legal trick and wasn't impressed by any of them. Vought's legal team occupied 3 full tables, 17 attorneys in suits that cost more than most people's cars. The boys had Huey. "This is a preliminary hearing to determine whether sufficient evidence exists to warrant a grand jury investigation into Vought International's corporate practices," Judge Torres stated. "We are not here to determine guilt or innocence. We are here to determine whether investigation is warranted. Mr. Campbell, you may call your first witness." Huey stood, hands shaking slightly. "Your Honor, we call Superman to the stand." The Vought attorneys immediately objected. "Your Honor, the witness has not provided legal identification, has no established identity in any U.S. database, and may not even be competent to testify given his alleged extraterrestrial origin. He's competent enough to be charged with terrorism," Judge Torres interrupted dryly, "which your client has done in 17 separate filings. If he's competent enough to charge, he's competent enough to testify. Objection overruled. Witness will approach." Clark walked to the stand, placed his hand on the Bible out of respect for the symbolism, and swore to tell the truth. The oath felt heavier here than it ever had. Huey approached nervously. "Please state your name for the record." "Kal-El. Most people call me Clark Kent. Some call me Superman." "And where are you from?" "Originally, a planet called Krypton. More recently, a universe where corporate interests don't control superhero activity." Scattered laughter from the gallery. Vaught's attorneys scribbled notes furiously. "Can you describe the events of yesterday at Vought Tower?" Huey asked. Clark did, methodically, chronologically. Without emotion or embellishment, he described arriving accidentally, attempting to de-escalate, Homelander's immediate aggression, the heat vision aimed at civilians, the manufactured evacuation, the explosive charges, the setup. Every word was recorded, every detail entered into official court record. Vaught's lead attorney, a woman named Victoria Newman, who Clark's X-ray vision revealed had an unusual vascular system suggesting compound V enhancement, stood for cross-examination with predatory confidence. "Mr. Kent, or should I say Mr. L, you claim to be from another universe. Do you have any evidence supporting this claim?" "No." "You claim Homelander attacked you first. Do you have any witnesses corroborating this?" "The 47 people I saved from his heat vision would corroborate it. If Vought hadn't paid them to sign NDAs and change their testimony." "Objection. Speculation." Newman's voice sharpened. "Sustained," Judge Torres said. "The witness will stick to what he personally observed." Newman smiled. "Mr. Kent, you claim to have superhuman abilities. Specifically, you claim to be stronger than Homelander. Isn't it true that you injured him during your altercation?" "I defended myself when he attacked me." and in defending yourself, you fractured his elbow, caused bleeding, demonstrated superior physical force. Newman pulled up medical records on a screen. Homelander required medical treatment following your encounter. Treatment for injuries you inflicted. Does that sound like self-defense to you? Clark's jaw tightened. I used minimum necessary force to protect civilians from his attacks. Or you're an unregistered superhuman who violently assaulted America's premier hero and are now attempting to justify your aggression through false testimony. Newman's smile widened. No further questions, Your Honor. The testimony continued for 2 hours. Huey entered evidence. Surveillance footage that wasn't doctored. Witness statements from people who hadn't signed NDAs. Documentation of Vought's systematic cover-ups of soupy crimes. Vought's attorneys entered counter-evidence. Doctored footage showing Superman attacking first. Expert testimony claiming dimensional travel was scientifically impossible. Psychiatric evaluations suggesting Clark was delusional. Back and forth, truth versus fiction. Reality versus spin. At 12:34 p.m., Judge Torres called recess. I'll review the evidence and determine whether to recommend grand jury investigation. Court is adjourned until... The explosion shattered the courthouse's east wall. Not from outside, from inside, specifically from Victoria Newman's head, which detonated like an overripe melon, showering the courtroom with blood and brain matter. She collapsed, dead before hitting the floor. Screaming erupted. People stampeded toward exits, and Clark's superhearing caught the distinctive sound of Homelander's laughter from somewhere outside. Clark moved instantly, positioning himself between the crowd and potential threats, scanning for additional explosions. But nothing came. Just Victoria Newman's corpse and mounting chaos. Judge Torres, covered in blood but composed, banged her gavel. Bailiffs, lock down the courthouse. Nobody leaves until... A second explosion. This time from the lead Vought attorney at table 2. Same pattern, head detonating from inside, instant death, no external weapon. Clark's X-ray vision swept every person in the courtroom, looking for bombs or weapons or anything that could cause spontaneous cranial detonation. He found nothing, just terrified humans, and there, in the gallery, a woman in her 30s, watching the carnage with calm assessment while her vascular system pulsed with unnatural rhythm. Her head had the same unusual structure Newman's had shown. She was doing it, somehow rupturing blood vessels remotely, causing aneurysms that looked like explosions. Clark moved toward her, but she noticed his attention and smiled. Then she pointed at Judge Torres. No. Clark blurred to the judge's side, but he was too late. Torres's head detonated, showering him with evidence that some powers didn't require physical contact or line of sight. The woman stood, addressed the courtroom with eerie calm. This hearing is terminated. Further investigation of Vought International will result in additional casualties. Return to your lives. Forget what you've seen. Or join these brave civil servants in their sacrifice. She walked toward the exit, and nobody stopped her. Because stopping her meant dying. Everyone in the room understood that fundamental equation. Everyone except Clark. He intercepted her at the door, grabbing her wrist. You're coming with... Pain exploded behind his eyes. Not from physical injury, but from his own blood pressure spiking catastrophically. She was trying to pop his blood vessels. It would have worked on anyone with normal physiology. On Superman, it just gave him a migraine. Clark tightened his grip. Not everyone has blood you can control. The woman's calm cracked. Let me go, or everyone in this building dies. You can't kill everyone before I stop you. Maybe not. Her smile returned. But I can kill enough that you'll spend the rest of your life wondering if stopping me was worth it. The moral calculus that had plagued Clark since arriving crystallized in this moment. He could stop her, break her wrist, incapacitate her, deliver her to authorities who would either execute her or recruit her. He could prevent future deaths she'd cause, but doing so would trigger her killing as many people as possible in her final seconds. 30, 50, however many she could manage before Clark snapped her neck. And snapping her neck would make him exactly what Butcher wanted. A killer who decided justice through violence. Clark released her wrist. The woman straightened her jacket, composed herself. Smart. See, you're learning. She walked away, disappearing into panicked crowds while bailiffs tried to restore order to a courtroom painted red. Clark stood in blood and failure, listening to the boys coordinate evacuation over comms, watching evidence of Vogt's crimes literally explode before reaching trial. Huey appeared at his side, pale and shaking. That was Victoria Newman, Congressman. She's been helping Vogt all along. We had files on her, but couldn't prove. He stopped, looking at the carnage. This is my fault. I thought testimony would matter. I thought the law could. It can't, Clark said quietly. Not here. Not against this. MM's voice crackled through the earpiece Clark had borrowed. Superman, we need to extract. Vought security is en route. So is Homelander. We've got maybe 2 minutes. Clark scanned the courtroom with X-ray vision. 43 survivors, 9 dead, 17 injured. The wounded needed medical attention. The survivors needed protection. And Homelander was closing fast, eager to capitalize on the chaos. Go, Clark told Huey. Get everyone out. I'll buy you time. What are you going to do? Clark rose 6 inches off blood-slicked marble. Something I should have done yesterday. He flew through the shattered wall and into morning sunlight that felt like mockery. Homelander was already there, hovering 50 feet away, cape billowing dramatically for the cameras still recording everything. Tragic, Homelander announced for the microphones. Victoria Newman, beloved Congresswoman, murdered by the alien invaders' associate, along with Judge Torres and 7 others. Truly tragic. His smile was pure sociopathy. But Homelander is here. America is safe. Clark understood the play immediately. Newman had been Vaught's inside asset. When she became a liability, when her enhanced blood exploded under scrutiny, they'd ordered her to commit suicide by mass murder and frame it as the boys' terrorism. Perfect PR, perfect narrative control, perfect evil. I'm done playing, Clark said. Finally. Homelander's eyes glowed red. Let's give them the show they've been waiting for. They clashed above federal court in broad daylight, and this time, Superman stopped holding back. The press conference was scheduled for 9 a.m. at federal court, Southern District of New York. Clark arrived at 8:47 a.m., wearing civilian clothes borrowed from Huey that fit poorly, but served the purpose. Looking human, vulnerable, relatable. The steps outside the courthouse were already packed with reporters, cameras, and protesters holding signs that split evenly between alien invader and real hero. Police barriers barely contained the crowd. News helicopters circled. And across the street, on top of a building MM had secured for Overwatch, the boys monitored with surveillance equipment and sniper rifles loaded with specialized rounds that probably wouldn't kill Homelander, but might slow him down. Probably. Huey stood beside Clark, wearing a cheap suit and carrying a briefcase full of documentation. He looked terrified. This is insane. You know that, right? We're about to accuse the most powerful corporation in America of systematic criminal conspiracy. They're going to destroy us." "Probably," Clark agreed. "And you're still doing this?" "Someone has to." Clark scanned the crowd with X-ray vision, counting weapons. 43 firearms, 17 tasers, 6 compound V injectors. And standing at the back, partially obscured but unmistakable, Homelander, wearing civilian clothes and a baseball cap that fooled exactly nobody. Their eyes met across 200 feet of concrete and chaos. Homelander smiled, touched 2 fingers to his temple in mock salute, then pointed toward a section of crowd where a woman held a young child. The message was clear: testify, and innocents die. Clark looked away first, not from fear, from calculation. Homelander wanted a reaction, wanted Superman to attack or flee, wanted anything except what was about to happen. Public testimony under oath, recorded and broadcasted, creating a permanent legal record that couldn't be edited or disappeared. "Let's go," Clark said. They climbed the courthouse steps, past protesters shouting contradictory demands, past reporters hurling questions that blurred together, past everything except the simple act of walking through doors and into a system that was supposed to deliver justice. The courtroom was smaller than Clark expected. Judge Maria Torres presided, a woman in her 60s with steel-gray hair and an expression that suggested she'd seen every legal trick and wasn't impressed by any of them. Vought's legal team occupied 3 full tables, 17 attorneys in suits that cost more than most people's cars. The boys had Huey. "This is a preliminary hearing to determine whether sufficient evidence exists to warrant a grand jury investigation into Voght International's corporate practices," Judge Torres stated. "We are not here to determine guilt or innocence. We are here to determine whether investigation is warranted. Mr. Campbell, you may call your first witness." Huey stood, hands shaking slightly. "Your Honor, we call Superman to the stand." The Voght attorneys immediately objected. "Your Honor, the witness has not provided legal identification, has no established identity in any U.S. database, and may not even be competent to testify given his alleged extraterrestrial origin. He's competent enough to be charged with terrorism." Judge Torres interrupted dryly, "which your client has done in 17 separate filings. If he's competent enough to charge, he's competent enough to testify. Objection overruled. Witness will approach." Clark walked to the stand, placed his hand on the Bible out of respect for the symbolism, and swore to tell the truth. The oath felt heavier here than it ever had. Huey approached nervously. "Please state your name for the record." "Kal-El. Most people call me Clark Kent. Some call me Superman." "And where are you from?" "Originally? A planet called Krypton. More recently, a universe where corporate interests don't control superhero activity." Scattered laughter from the gallery. Vought's attorneys scribbled notes furiously. "Can you describe the events of yesterday at Voght Tower?" Huey asked. Clark did. Methodically, chronologically, without emotion or embellishment. He described arriving accidentally, attempting to de-escalate. Homelander's immediate aggression, the heat vision aimed at civilians, the manufactured evacuation, the explosive charges, the setup. Every word was recorded. Every detail entered into official court record. Vought's lead attorney, a woman named Victoria Newman, who Clark's X-ray vision revealed had an unusual vascular system suggesting compound V enhancement, stood for cross-examination with predatory confidence. "Mr. Kent, or should I say Mr. L, you claim to be from another universe. Do you have any evidence supporting this claim?" "No." "You claim Homelander attacked you first." Do you have any witnesses corroborating this? The 47 people I saved from his heat vision would corroborate it, if Vought hadn't paid them to sign NDAs and change their testimony. Objection. Speculation. Newman's voice sharpened. Sustained, Judge Torres said. The witness will stick to what he personally observed. Newman smiled. Mr. Kent, you claim to have superhuman abilities. Specifically, you claim to be stronger than Homelander. Isn't it true that you injured him during your altercation? I defended myself when he attacked me. And in defending yourself, you fractured his elbow, caused bleeding, demonstrated superior physical force. Newman pulled up medical records on a screen. Homelander required medical treatment following your encounter, treatment for injuries you inflicted. Does that sound like self-defense to you? Clark's jaw tightened. I used minimum necessary force to protect civilians from his attacks. Or, you're an unregistered superhuman who violently assaulted America's premier hero and are now attempting to justify your aggression through false testimony. Newman's smile widened. No further questions, Your Honor. The testimony continued for 2 hours. Huey entered evidence, surveillance footage that wasn't doctored, witness statements from people who hadn't signed NDAs, documentation of Vaught's systematic cover-ups of soup crimes. Vaught's attorneys entered counter-evidence, doctored footage showing Superman attacking first, expert testimony claiming dimensional travel was scientifically impossible, psychiatric evaluations suggesting Clark was delusional, back and forth, truth versus fiction, reality versus spin. At 12:34 p.m., Judge Torres called recess. I'll review the evidence and determine whether to recommend grand jury investigation. Court is adjourned until... The explosion shattered the courthouse's east wall. Not from outside, from inside, specifically from Victoria Newman's head, which detonated like an overripe melon, showering the courtroom with blood and brain matter. She collapsed, dead before hitting the floor. Screaming erupted. People stampeded toward exits, and Clark's super hearing caught the distinctive sound of Homelander's laughter from somewhere outside. Clark moved instantly, positioning himself between the crowd and potential threats, scanning for additional explosions. But nothing came. Just Victoria Newman's corpse and mounting chaos. Judge Torres, covered in blood but composed, banged her gavel. Bailiffs, lock down the courthouse. Nobody leaves until... A second explosion, this time from the lead Vought attorney at table 2. Same pattern, head detonating from inside, instant death, no external weapon. Clark's X-ray vision swept every person in the courtroom, looking for bombs or weapons or anything that could cause spontaneous cranial detonation. He found nothing, just terrified humans and... There, in the gallery, a woman in her 30s, watching the carnage with calm assessment while her vascular system pulsed with unnatural rhythm. Her head had the same unusual structure Newman's had shown. She was doing it, somehow rupturing blood vessels remotely, causing aneurysms that looked like explosions. Clark moved toward her, but she noticed his attention and smiled. Then she pointed at Judge Torres. No. Clark blurred to the judge's side, but he was too late. Torres's head detonated, showering him with evidence that some powers didn't require physical contact or line of sight. The woman stood, addressed the courtroom with eerie calm. This hearing is terminated. Further investigation of Vought International will result in additional casualties. Return to your lives. Forget what you've seen, or join these brave civil servants in their sacrifice. She walked toward the exit, and nobody stopped her, because stopping her meant dying. Everyone in the room understood that fundamental equation. Everyone except Clark. He intercepted her at the door, grabbing her wrist. "You're coming with..." Pain exploded behind his eyes, not from physical injury, but from his own blood pressure spiking catastrophically. She was trying to pop his blood vessels. It would have worked on anyone with normal physiology. On Superman, it just gave him a migraine. Clark tightened his grip. Not everyone has blood you can control. The woman's calm cracked. "Let me go or everyone in this building dies. You can't kill everyone before I stop you." "Maybe not." Her smile returned. "But I can kill enough that you'll spend the rest of your life wondering if stopping me was worth it." The moral calculus that had plagued Clark since arriving crystallized in this moment. He could stop her, break her wrist, incapacitate her, deliver her to authorities who would either execute her or recruit her. He could prevent future deaths she'd cause. But doing so would trigger her killing as many people as possible in her final seconds. 30? 50? However many she could manage before Clark snapped her neck. And snapping her neck would make him exactly what Butcher wanted. A killer who decided justice through violence. Clark released her wrist. The woman straightened her jacket, composed herself. "Smart. See? You're learning." She walked away, disappearing into panicked crowds while bailiffs tried to restore order to a courtroom painted red. Clark stood in blood and failure, listening to the boys coordinate evacuation over comms, watching evidence of Vogt's crimes literally explode before reaching trial. Huey appeared at his side, pale and shaking. That was Victoria Newman, Congressman. She's been helping Vogt all along. We had files on her but couldn't prove. He stopped, looking at the carnage. "This is my fault. I thought testimony would matter. I thought the law could." "It can't," Clark said quietly. "Not here. Not against this." MM's voice crackled through the earpiece Clark had borrowed. "Superman, we need to extract. Vought security is en route. So is Homelander. We've got maybe 2 minutes." Clark scanned the courtroom with X-ray vision. 43 survivors, 9 dead, 17 injured. The wounded needed medical attention, the survivors needed protection, and Homelander was closing fast, eager to capitalize on the chaos. "Go," Clark told Huey. "Get everyone out. I'll buy you time." "What are you going to do?" Clark rose 6 inches off blood-slicked marble. "Something I should have done yesterday." He flew through the shattered wall and into morning sunlight that felt like mockery. Homelander was already there, hovering 50 feet away, cape billowing dramatically for the cameras still recording everything. "Tragic," Homelander announced for the microphones. "Victoria Newman, beloved Congresswoman, murdered by the alien invader's associate, along with Judge Torres and 7 others. Truly tragic." His smile was pure sociopathy. "But Homelander is here. America is safe." Clark understood the play immediately. Newman had been Vought's inside asset. When she became a liability, when her enhanced blood exploded under scrutiny, they'd ordered her to commit suicide by mass murder and frame it as the boys' terrorism. Perfect PR. Perfect narrative control. Perfect evil. "I'm done playing," Clark said, finally. Homelander's eyes glowed red. "Let's give them the show they've been waiting for." They clashed above federal court in broad daylight, and this time, Superman stopped holding back. The first punch shattered windows in a 12-block radius. Clark hit Homelander with calculated force. Not enough to kill, but enough to hurt. The psychopath spun through the air, crashed through an office building, and emerged on the other side with blood streaming from his nose and murder in his eyes. "There you are," Homelander screamed with genuine joy. "There's the real you." He returned with heat vision and supersonic speed, attacking with everything he had. Clark met him halfway, exchanging blows that generated sonic booms and sent shockwaves rippling through Manhattan's architecture. This wasn't the defensive fight from yesterday. This was two titans unleashed, consequences be damned. They carved through the city like gods at war. Clark grabbed Homelander mid-flight, accelerated upward, and didn't stop until they were 30,000 feet above New York. Up here, away from civilians, he could finally fight without restraint. He drove his fist into Homelander's ribs with enough force to crack them. The psychopath howled, twisted, and returned with an elbow strike that would have decapitated anyone else. Clark absorbed it, used the momentum to spin Homelander into a throw that sent him plummeting back toward Earth. Then he followed, heat vision burning across Homelander's back as they fell together through clouds and screaming air. They crashed into the Hudson River with impact that created a temporary crater. Water displaced in all directions, capsizing nearby boats. Clark surfaced first, pulling Homelander up by his throat and driving him underwater again, holding him there while the psychopath thrashed. Homelander didn't need to breathe. Neither of them did, really. But panic was psychological, and Clark could see it in his eyes. The realization that Superman could hold him underwater forever, could drown him slowly, could end this. Clark released him, disgusted with himself. They surfaced simultaneously, hovering above churning water while helicopters circled at maximum zoom. Every camera in New York was pointed at them. Every screen showed their battle. The world was watching Superman brutalize Homelander, and the optics were catastrophic. "Why won't you finish it?" Homelander gasped, ribs knitting back together. "You've already crossed the line. You've already become violent. Just kill me and get it over with." "Because I'm not you," Clark said. "Yes, you are." Homelander's voice cracked. "You think you're better because you have restraint? Because you choose not to kill? That just means you're complicit. Every person I murder after today is your fault for not stopping me when you could." The argument Clark had been dreading. The truth he'd been avoiding. Homelander was right. Morally, philosophically, mathematically right. One death now would prevent hundreds later. That was the calculus of heroism in this universe. But it was also the calculus of tyranny, of deciding which lives mattered, of becoming judge, jury, and executioner. "I won't kill you," Clark said quietly, "but I will stop you, every time, for as long as it takes." "That's not sustainable." Homelander laughed, wild and broken. "You can't watch me every second. You can't prevent every murder. And eventually, maybe today, maybe next week, you'll be distracted for 5 seconds and I'll laser a school bus full of children just to prove you failed." Clark's fists clenched. "Then I'll make you a deal." Homelander's laughter stopped. "What deal? You want to be the strongest. You want worship and fear and attention. Fine. I'll give you what you need. I'll leave. I'll find a way back to my universe, and you can have your supremacy back." Clark met his gaze. "But first, you have to prove you're actually a hero. Save people. Protect civilians. Do the job Vought pays you for. Do it for 30 days without killing anyone, without covering up crimes, without using your powers to harm innocents. Show me you're capable of being what you pretend to be. And if I don't, then I stay, forever. And every time you hurt someone, I hurt you back, twice as hard. In front of cameras. Until your brand is so damaged that Vought drops you and you're just another unemployed soupe with anger issues. Homelander considered this, blood dripping from his mouth. Clark could hear his thoughts churning, calculating odds, measuring pride against pragmatism, weighing whether 30 days of actual heroism was worth regaining supremacy. "You're bluffing," Homelander said finally. "You can't get home. You're stuck here." "Maybe. But you don't know that for certain." Clark allowed himself a small smile. "And that uncertainty, that possibility that I might leave and make you look foolish for agreeing, that's eating you alive right now." Homelander's expression cycled through rage, consideration, and finally cold calculation. 30 days. I do the hero bullshit. You fuck off back to whatever rainbow dimension you came from, and we never speak of this again. Deal. But, Homelander's smile turned vicious, if you can't leave, if you're lying or stuck or whatever, then the deal's off and I start killing everyone you've ever looked at, starting with the boys. Clark extended his hand. 30 days. Starting now. Homelander stared at the offered handshake for 10 seconds, aware that every camera was recording this moment. That whatever he chose would define his public image going forward. Finally, he gripped Clark's hand with enough force to pulverize concrete. They shook, and the gesture broadcast globally felt like peace, but tasted like postponed violence. "This doesn't make us friends," Homelander said quietly, for Clark's ears only. "This doesn't mean I forgive you for continue humiliating me. This just means I'm smart enough to take the deal that benefits me most." "I know exactly what you are," Clark replied, equally quiet. "And when your 30 days are up, if I'm still here, we'll have this conversation again. Permanently." They separated, hovering above the Hudson while Manhattan held its breath. Homelander turned toward the cameras, composed his expression into heroic resolve, and flew back toward Vote Tower, trailing cape and manufactured nobility. Clark descended to the waterfront, where the boys waited in the extraction van. Engines running, weapons ready for the fight they'd expected to be retrieving Superman's body from. Butcher emerged first, expression unreadable. The fuck was that? "A delay," Clark said. 30 days where Homelander has to actually be a hero. 30 days to find a way home, or 30 days to prepare for what comes next. "And you believe he'll honor it?" MM asked skeptically. "No. But he'll try, because his ego demands he prove he can." Clark looked back at the city, at the millions of lives trapped in Vaught's system. And maybe, 30 days of actually saving people will remind him what he was supposed to be before they turned him into this. "That's optimistic bollocks," Butcher said flatly. "He's gonna kill someone on day 3 and blame you for it." "Probably." Clark met his gaze. "But I had to try. Because the alternative was becoming what you want me to be. A killer who solves problems through violence. And this universe has enough of those already." Huey approached, still shaking from the courthouse massacre. "What do we do now? The hearing failed. The judge is dead. Victoria Newman was Vaught's asset all along. We're back to square one." "Not quite." Clark pulled out his phone, the one Frenchie had given him, encrypted and untraceable. "I recorded everything Newman said before she left. Her admission of causing the deaths, her threat, her connection to Vought. It's not enough for criminal prosecution, but it's enough to start asking questions." "Vought will suppress it," MM said. "They'll try. But I'm sending it to 17 different media outlets simultaneously. Independent journalists, international press. People Vought doesn't completely control. Clark initiated the transfer. They can't silence everyone. Some truth will leak through. Frenchie grinned. Ah, you are learning. This is good. Burn it all down, but with information warfare instead of actual burning. We still need to find out why you're here, MM said. Dimensional breaches don't just happen. Someone engineered this. Working on it, Frenchie confirmed. I have built scanner from satellite parts and vote stolen surveillance equipment. Also, I may have committed several felonies acquiring components. But for good cause, yes? Get me answers, Clark said. Because if I can't leave after 30 days, Homelander and I are going to finish what we started. And this time, I won't be holding back. Butcher pulled out his flask, took a long drink. You realize you just gave a psychopathic murderer a month to plan your death, yeah? He's gonna spend every second finding your weaknesses, recruiting allies, building weapons specifically designed to kill you. I know. And you're gonna spend that month, what? Saving people? Exposing Vought? Being a proper hero? Yes. Butcher laughed, bitter and exhausted. You're gonna die here. You know that, right? This universe eats heroes like you for breakfast. Starlight tried, Maeve tried, they all tried. And the system broke them or killed them or turned them into the thing they were fighting. Clark thought about Jonathan Kent, about Martha's prayers, about Lois Lane, who he might never see again, about a universe where heroism mattered and systems could be changed and hope wasn't a marketing tool. Maybe, Clark said, but I'd rather die trying than survive by giving up. He rose into the air, cape spreading behind him, and flew toward the city that didn't want saving. Behind him, the boys watched in silence, each calculating whether Superman would survive his next 30 days. Butcher took another drink. Give him a week, maybe 2 if he's lucky. I think he'll make it, Huey said quietly. He's different than anyone here. He actually believes. That's why he's gonna die, Butcher replied. Belief's a fucking luxury in this universe, and luxuries get you killed. High above Manhattan, Clark Kent hovered between buildings and watched his reflection in 1,000 windows. He looked the same, costume intact, symbol bright, cape billowing. But something fundamental had shifted. He'd threatened to kill. He'd brutalized another being. He'd made deals with monsters and compromised principles he'd thought inviolate. And the worst part? It had worked. Homelander was temporarily contained. The boys had evidence. 30 days bought breathing room. Maybe Butcher was right. Maybe this universe's only lesson was that principles were weaknesses to be exploited. Or maybe, Clark could prove that even here, even now, heroism meant something more than brand management and body counts. His super hearing picked up a call for help. Apartment fire in Queens. 3 children trapped on the 4th floor. FDNY still 7 minutes away. Clark moved, because that's what heroes did. Even in universes that didn't deserve them. Especially in universes that didn't deserve them. The 30 days that followed would be remembered as the strangest month in superhero history. Homelander, attempting to prove himself, actually saved people. He pulled victims from burning buildings without demanding worship. He stopped crimes without killing perpetrators. He even smiled for cameras with something approximating genuine warmth rather than psychotic performance. The public noticed. Social media erupted with confusion, hope, and conspiracy theories about body doubles. Vought's PR department worked overtime spinning the change as Homelander returning to his roots. And Superman, Clark Kent, the alien who'd arrived and changed everything, became the city's quiet guardian, operating in Homelander's shadow, but never seeking glory. The boys watched both carefully, weapons ready, expecting betrayal. Frenchie worked day and night on the dimensional scanner, making progress but finding more questions than answers. Someone had deliberately pulled Superman into this universe. Someone with technology that shouldn't exist. Someone who wanted Homelander challenged. But why? On day 23, Clark saved a young boy from drowning in the East River. The child's mother thanked him with tears streaming down her face, asked if he was an angel. Clark had smiled sadly and said no, just someone trying to help. That night, his super hearing caught Homelander on his penthouse balcony, watching the same river, wrestling with thoughts he'd never allowed himself before. The psychopath was changing, fractionally, possibly temporarily, but changing nonetheless. Maybe heroism was contagious, even in universes designed to suppress it. Or maybe Homelander was just getting better at faking humanity. 7 days remained when Clark's communicator buzzed with a message from Frenchie. Found something. You need to see this. Now. The answers were coming. About why he was here. About who'd engineered the breach. About whether he'd ever see home again. But as Clark flew toward Brooklyn, passing over a city that looked almost peaceful under starlight, he realized something troubling. Part of him didn't want to leave, because this universe needed him. These people, trapped in corporate evil and superhuman cruelty, deserved someone who fought for them without profit motive or brand management. They deserved an actual hero, even if being one here meant compromising everything he'd believed about heroism. The war with Vote International had only just begun. Homelander's temporary cooperation wouldn't last. The system that created this nightmare still operated with impunity. And somewhere in corporate shadows, executives were already planning how to neutralize the alien who disrupted their carefully managed chaos. But tonight, at least, Superman had given hope to people who'd forgotten what it looked like. Some things couldn't be fixed. But that didn't mean you stopped trying. Some things can't be fixed. More stories await.